Now, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I remember there is this time when David Ndii was debating with some economists. Actually, they were on Citizen TV. And so he made a statement. He said Kenya is a marriage crisis. And then he went ahead and said, it is time we start talking about divorce. Now listen to that. You know, I was kind of trying to look deeper and say, perhaps this man is speaking of the truth. And so yesterday, David Ndii came out to reveal the real extent of this crisis that we have in our country and how Kenya is now a marriage crisis and it is time to talk of divorce. And he kind of tried to relate how Ghana went in an economic turmoil. Of course, he's an economist, so everything he will be saying will be underpinning the economic basis and every principle that you will be trying to see forth. So he was revisiting a story which Al Jazeera put about how Ghana went in economic turmoil, and he said it perfectly well. It is very timely because right now what you have maybe noted is that there is a category of people in Ruto's government that are not now lying. They are telling the truth. They are saying it the way it is, and no fabrication. You talk of Moses Kuria, you talk of David Ndii. They have come out to be truthful. In fact, if we wanted people who are truthful in Ruto's government, then we will be starting to think of David Ndii and also bring in, Moses Kuria. So David Ndii revisited that story, how Ghana went into economic turmoil. And by that time, everything that signaled, crisis for Ghana and the government did not give heed to is the same thing we are seeing in our nation. And when I was trying to look at it, I revisited that story and I dug deeper into it. And I came up with three things. And these three things are very much key and you can actually relate them with what is happening. And so I concluded that perhaps David Ndii is speaking of the truth. That if we are not careful, if we don't consider divorce in the way we are having the economic difficulties right now, then we will be ending up, to be a Kenya which is a marriage crisis. That is the real revelation of the statement, the meaning of the statement he actually made. So I came up with three things and I've related them well to what is really happening. Now, first of all, if you look at what happened in Ghana, by the time signals were coming up, economists were trying to warn, to give sentiments that we are not heading to a right direction. We are going to be doomed if we don't take actions. Ghana did not consider the way government was spending. In fact, the government was spendthrift. It was extravagant. That is the same thing that is really happening in our nation. You cannot be spendthrift when you have not gauged the level of your income and see that whatever I spend is supposed to be matching the level of my income. If you are spendthrift, it means you are spending more than what you are earning. That is the same thing that is happening. And it is not the first time that David Ndii is reminding us that in Ruto's government, there are people who are just there to eat, or just there to live luxurious lifestyles, or just there to waste government resources and the public resources. And so being spendthrift is a key thing here. We are hearing William Ruto, allocating, funds to some sectors. The government is allocating funds to some sectors which are not even optimally aligned to sustenance of the economy. We were hearing Ruto realizing that it is time for every ministry to stop, the traveling abroad, just rampant travels, rampant expenses. He came to realize it very late. Okay, so spendthrift. If we are not going to have a divorce in the line of how we are spending, if William Ruto is not going to be very careful, then definitely we'll go the Ghana way. Economic turmoil is going to face us like a bandit. Now, the second thing is, Ghana failed to employ the economics of increasing productivity. Now, increasing productivity is always backbone in the agricultural sector. For instance, you provide incentives to farmers and you make sure that, the agriculture is well fashioned, well oiled, the wheels are well oiled so that it is running continuously. It is running flawlessly. There is no hindrance. There is no stumbling block. Now, in our case, William Ruto has always insisted on incentivizing the farmers. And you talk of the fertilizers, you talk of the subsidies that are being released. And very late is when, the time we had them saying, the subsidies are only supposed to go to the agricultural sector. But the subsidies are not being seen. Remember when we were getting into 2023, remember the time we were praying for the rains and we were really praying for our produce to be as high as possible. By that time, the government had promised the agricultural sector a lot of goodies. But right now, if you do a review, if you go and get the feedback from the farmers, they will tell you definitely that they have not seen any tangible kind of incentives that the government provided. In fact, they have only worked out their ways to get the produce that would sustain them. You cannot talk of the produce that can sustain the economy. So we are still limited in terms of how is the government coming in handy to ensure that we have increasing productivity. So increasing productivity, if the government cannot give it more attention, then definitely we cannot be sustained in the future. Everything that the government is banking on cannot be exactly sustained. Right now we are hearing the deputy president, in war with the tea farmers and everybody, the tea sector in Mount Kenya region, coffee sector and everything, is trying to fight cartels, his hands are tied, he doesn't even know where to start from. And when you look at even the Rift Valley, some of the farmers are saying the fertilizers that they were given are not even productive enough, not producing anything. So the increasing productivity, I think if we don't do it with utmost honesty, then we are going to go the Ghana way, which Ndii actually was saying. Then the last thing which I want us to tackle shortly, we also had the economic stabilization policies. Now, there are policy frameworks that always come automatically based on how the government is seeing the country needs those policies. There's a mindset that when the government taxes more, they will get more, and at the same time, they will allocate more to the projects that they think will be sustainable in the long run. And at the same time, they are maybe thinking that, we have to feel the pinch, we have to feel the weight, but later, they are assuring us the future, which we cannot actually see. So overtaxation, made people to be demoralized in Ghana. The government was overtaxing people and not putting on something which was assuring the people. If you fail in putting into practice, the increasing productivity, if you fail to curb spendthrift, habits, then there is no way that if you overtax people, you will still have something productive in the long run. So overtaxing the people, the citizen, is making people to have less enthusiasm in the way government is running its activity, in the way the future is supposed to be assured to the people. So these three things are very weighty, and I agree definitely well with David Ndii that if we don't give heed to them, if the government doesn't take keen note on them, definitely we'll go the Ghana way. And if we go the Ghana way, we'll reach a point of confirming what I've been telling you all along, a failed government. And when a government fails, if we don't wake up, then definitely will be a failed state. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the next analysis. May you have a great time.